When we talk about millionaires and how they spend, it's easy to imagine them as one collective group. People who just happen to have a lot of money and similar habits. But in truth, the way they spend often tells you everything about how they made their money and what they believe about it. So let's go deeper. Because not all millionaires are built the same. Some chase purpose, others chase pleasure, and a few chase permanence. The idea of leaving something behind that money alone can't buy. Let's start with a name you already know, Warren Buffett. For decades, Buffett has been one of the richest men alive. Yet his lifestyle looks more like a comfortable middle-class story than a billionaire's fantasy. He still lives in the same modest home in Omaha, Nebraska that he bought in 1958 for around $31,000. He drives himself to work. He famously eats breakfast from McDonald's. To the outside world, that seems unusual, maybe even strange, for a man worth over $100 billion. But for Buffett, spending isn't about signaling wealth. It's about simplicity. His relationship with money is detached, almost stoic. He sees it as a scorecard for the game of investing, not a tool for pleasure. His philosophy is clear. If you buy things you don't need, soon you'll have to sell things you do. For Buffett, restraint is luxury. Freedom is the ability to ignore temptation. And that's the first mindset of the ultra-rich, the pragmatist. They spend not to impress, but to preserve clarity. Now, shift gears completely. Enter Elon Musk. If Buffett's wealth philosophy is about quiet simplicity, Musk's is about cosmic ambition. He's not spending to decorate life. He's spending to redefine it. Every dollar he earns becomes a seed for a future most people can't even imagine. Instead of buying yachts or private islands, he pours billions into SpaceX, Tesla, Neuralink, and ventures aimed at reshaping civilization itself. Musk once sold most of his real estate and started sleeping in a friend's spare bedroom while investing nearly all his net worth back into his companies. He once said, "I don't want possessions to weigh me down." It's a radical detachment from luxury in the traditional sense, but an obsession with impact. Musk's spending isn't personal, it's planetary. His idea of luxury isn't a penthouse in New York. It's a footprint on Mars. That's the second type of spender, the visionary. The one who doesn't buy comfort, they buy change. Then there's someone like Kylie Jenner, a completely different case study in modern wealth. Her empire was built on image, influence, and brand power. And her spending reflects that perfectly. Private jets, designer wardrobes, multi-million-dollar mansions, luxury vehicles. But each of these choices feeds back into her personal brand. For Kylie, spending is marketing. Every handbag, every outfit, every social media post isn't just self-expression, it's advertising. She's mastered the art of transforming lifestyle into leverage. The yacht in the south of France? It's not just a vacation, it's content. The luxury car? A symbol of aspiration that sells a story her followers want to buy into. And that's the third type, the brand builder. They spend to reinforce identity. Every purchase becomes a performance, a visual currency that multiplies influence and ultimately profit. It's the psychology of status turned into a business model. Then consider Jeff Bezos. For years, Bezos lived relatively modestly, but as his wealth expanded beyond comprehension, his spending began reflecting a fascination with longevity and legacy. His company, Blue Origin, is his version of Musk's SpaceX, but his mindset is subtly different. Bezos isn't just interested in innovation, he's obsessed with endurance. He's building a 10,000-year clock inside a mountain in Texas, designed to keep time for 10 millennia. He's spent hundreds of millions on restoring old manuscripts, acquiring rare artifacts, and constructing estates that represent both privacy and permanence. His purchases whisper a theme: forever. They're less about enjoyment and more about leaving fingerprints on history. That's the legacy architect. They spend to stretch their influence through time itself. Then there's Oprah Winfrey. Her spending reveals a completely different psychological landscape, one built on nourishment and connection. Yes, she owns massive estates, private jets, and fine art, but her greatest investments have always been in people, her employees, her audience, her foundation, and the schools she's built in Africa. For Oprah, money is energy. She spends it where it can create emotional or spiritual return. Her philosophy, to whom much is given, much is expected. Her homes are sanctuaries, peaceful, intentional spaces designed for gratitude, reflection, and creative flow. Her purchases align with a single truth, that abundance means nothing without meaning. That's the spiritual spender, the one who seeks alignment, not applause. And then there are those who treat money like a mirror, constantly reflecting their inner evolution. Take Jay-Z, for example. In his early years, his spending shouted ambition. Luxury watches, supercars, champagne, and the glitter of success. But as his career matured, his choices became quieter and sharper. Art investments, real estate, and ownership stakes in companies like Uber and Armand de Brignac. Jay-Z once said, "I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman." That single line reveals everything. He turned his spending into equity. He shifted from buying things that depreciate to owning things that appreciate. It's the transformation from consumer to creator, from buyer to builder. That's the evolutionary spender, someone who uses wealth to write new definitions of power. But let's pause for a moment and ask, what do all these people have in common? Because despite their differences, Buffett's simplicity, Musk's vision, Kylie's image, Oprah's soulfulness, Bezos' legacy, Jay-Z's evolution, they all share a deep understanding of one thing. Money isn't the goal, it's the instrument. It's the lever that lets them build lives around their deepest values. It amplifies who they already are, and that's the real revelation. Wealth doesn't change people, it reveals them. It takes your traits, your fears, your habits, and magnifies them tenfold. If you're generous, you'll give more. If you're insecure, you'll flaunt more. If you're visionary, you'll build more. Money doesn't define character, it exposes it. The truth is that millionaires don't spend money the same way the rest of us do because they don't see money the same way. They don't see it as a ticket to escape life. They see it as a tool to build it. Where most people think about price, they think about possibility. Where most chase possessions, they chase purpose. And when you look closely, every category of spending, homes, cars, travel, health, giving, investing, it all connects to one human desire, to feel in control of life. That's what money really represents, control. The ability to say no, the ability to choose, the ability to create a life that matches what's in your mind, not what the world expects. And that's why studying how millionaires spend is so fascinating. Because behind every dollar, there's a philosophy. Behind every purchase, a story. Behind every decision, a belief about what life is supposed to mean. So if there's one thing to take away, it's this. Don't copy how millionaires spend. Study why they spend the way they do. Because the goal isn't to have what they have, it's to think how they think. And maybe one day, you'll discover that the real luxury isn't a thing you can buy. It's the peace of mind that comes from knowing who you are, what you value, and how you want to live. Because money, at its core, doesn't make you rich, clarity does. You've been watching Millionaire Motion, where we explore the minds behind the money and uncover the truth that luxury isn't just what you own, it's what you understand.